Greetings, everyone. We continue the March Madness, don't we? It is Tuesday. Let me make sure. Okay, Tuesday, March 13th. Here we go. Hope this video finds everyone in good spirits and in good thoughts. Let me go ahead and talk a little bit about these records that I received recently from Chris Cole, and then I want to do an update on my business, my music business. So Chris Cole, John Coltrane 68, I don't know if he's been making any videos. I haven't been checking it. A few folks I check in on, but Chris and I seem to vibe pretty deeply on a spiritual level. I understand him. We both have depression, and I really understand his cycle, how it messes with him. He's a good friend, and I expect nothing from him, but he always sends me these amazing packages of music. I've given to him what I can, but he just keeps pouring it out. This last package had some really nice stuff in it. Here's one. This is one from Chris's personal collection that he gave to me. Years ago I had this, and I had a bunch of Magma, and then I had a religious freak out, and then thought this was evil, and sold it, and a bunch of other records. Got my mind back, you know, and this is just some amazing music. So Chris gave me his. This one has a bit of water damage, which you can't see because I've kind of worked on it to make it look good. But Chris said he knows more than likely he'll be able to cop another copy of this before I will. So he gave me his copy of Magma Live. If you know the French band Magma, who have created their own language, and the Zool progressive rock style, this is fantastic music, very percussive, melodic. They sing in their own language. Wonderful stuff. Love me some Magma. Okay. Got some other records here, but let me just tell you about the ones that Chris gave me. Come on. Here they come. All right. Told you about the Aldo Nova. Real good album. Here's one of classical guitar music. Please look these up, folks. I'm not doing needle drops today. Sergio and Oder Assad, Alma Brasileira. This is classical guitar, nylon string classical guitar, and they're doing things by everyone from Egberto Gismonti to Villa-Lobos to something more contemporary. Well, Gismonti is. This is wonderful. These guys can really play, and Chris knows how much I love classical guitar music. This is wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Here's one that was, at first I was a bit disappointed, but then I turned it over. Jerry Hemingway, Kwambe, percussionist drummer with some good players on here. The first side is a side-long piece called Kwambe, and it's, I'm just going to be real, it's an attempt, even with these black players, to do this African thing, and it takes forever to get going, and as a result, it falls flat on its face for me. Turn it over, and it's a whole different story. First landscape, a suite in 3 parts, takes off right away. That's the best way I can put it. These are great players. Jerry Hemingway is a very accomplished percussionist, and he tried something on the first side, Kwambe, which for me didn't work. Side B is really good. Strata Institute. I see my camera's hanging up a bit, but I'm going to keep going, I hope. I got it plugged into the right port, so I don't know why the camera hangs up like that sometimes. Cipher Syntax by the Strata Institute. This is including some great players. Steve Coleman, Greg Osby, Dave Gilmore, not the one from Pink Floyd, Marvin Smitty Smith. Jazz, This has a bit of the Ornette Coleman type of lilt to it, rhythmically. This is really pretty good. It's not hot fire when it comes to jazz. People who like jazz know what you mean when you say fire, but this is good. This moves along nicely, and the guys play well together. Strata Institute, Cypher Syntax, kind of like along the lines of what El Bicho Feo is doing, Dave Wayne. He's doing the cheapies videos where he's showing stuff that is good but not expensive. This is probably one you can find. He had showed this. He had shown this one in his last video, Sahara. He's right. Yeah, you can find this for nothing. And it's like, I don't know why, because it's damned good with Roscoe Gee and Rebop. They were both in the band Can at one time. Yeah, this is good stuff. Here's one that I really appreciate from Chris. Some jazz. Live at the Festival. Several different tracks by these fantastic musicians. Karen Krog, vocalist, that I encourage you to find out about. She does some very interesting things with the voice. She's in the same, she's a vocalist like Meredith Monk or Joan LaBarbera. Even Yoko Ono. People who don't understand what Yoko Ono was trying to express make fun of her, but Yoko Ono opened up vocalism in ways. She did things that she's. Anyway, this is really nice, and it goes from being straight. They do roundabout midnight to being pretty interesting with Sonny's back and the Creators. Great players on here. See. Bobby Hutcherson, Bill Evans, Eddie Gomez, Harold Land, Archie Shep. Come on. Thank you so much to Chris. Showed you the Battisti. Showed you that. It's just about it. I think there was maybe just a couple more, yeah. Another classical guitar by Paco de Lucia, a wonderful album. He has... I think a string group with him on this one. Man, Paco de Lucia, wonderful player. There was one album on here that was kind of disappointing. I've already set it aside to sell. Kind of a tepid new age sort of thing with piano. Just it never took off. The cover was nice, but the record is... And I've actually been taking more of those out of my collection. There was a time when coffee table music, I would just keep it, thinking eventually I would like it, and there's just a lot of it that it's like, no, it just lays flat, so it's in the for sale piles. I collect these like Chris does. Music from around the world on the None Such Explorer series, and this one is Caribbean island music. I have already played one side of this. Dances, recordings of people actually living and doing their thing. It's like taking an audio trip to these places when you hear these recordings. Really wonderful. Badass, Chris. Thank you. Max Roach Survivors. B-side of this is all drum solos, which, again, you can study as a musician. Otherwise, drum soloing can really be boring unless you're studying. Excuse me. But the A-side of this is with a string... with a string quartet, and it is killer. This is a used album that came from the Chicago Public Library. Good thing you rescued it, Chris. It's got a good home now. Survivors. The A side of this is really edgy, and it explodes. It explodes. The strings are used in a very percussive, like this, way on this, just at you. Max Roach, he was one of the true giants. And then, for me, one of the best for last that I really enjoy, Mel Waldron Quintet with Steve Lacy. This album is fire, okay, when it comes to jazz. What a group. He's got Manfred Schuf on trumpet, Jimmy Wood on bass, Makayan and Choco on drums. These guys really play well together and mix it up. They do ensemble work that has a lot of structure. Then they go into free parts where they're really playing well and really, you know, following the swoops and the dives and the curvatures of the improvisation with each other really well. This is a fantastic jazz album. Mel Waldron Quintet, One-Upmanship on Inner City. Fantastic album. Thank you. So once again, Chris, thank you so much for the music. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so much. I'd like to give an update on my business because business is good. Okay. I showed you the prints that were made. Only 50 made. 22 are gone already. Selling fast. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We will not reprint those. It's an art piece. 50 and they're gone. As a result of being online, talking about and showing the prints and some other work in regards to just doing a little bit of fundraising for myself, which you have to do all the time. I mean, it's a job. I just like to live. I don't like to think about making my notes. I just like to live. But it's increased sales on everything else. The Door sold about 40 copies out of 100 of this already. Released Sound Waves last year in an edition of 100. There's only 14 of these left now. This has just been flying out. 14 copies left. I'm really happy to say that. Let me tell you what else is going on. I had mentioned to folks how Flyover is officially sold out and that I have just a few copies left that I'm selling for $50 a piece. I've sold 4, and yeah, no fail here. It will really be sold out here pretty soon. You know, people aren't even hesitating to buy them for $50. Also, let me just get this in there. Also, I finally finally got a page up on my blog site where I'm selling the individual test pressing album cover collages that I've made. Now here's one that's already sold. This one sold yesterday for $250. And I'll be delivering this to the buyer here in Omaha. I sold a couple others for 125 piece. These are they're individually priced, and some are as little as 125, and I've got a couple in there for 300. I've already sold a couple for 300. Thank you, folks, for your interest. Thank you. Thank you very much. Keep it right there. You know, I'll put the links to the blog site where you can buy a collage or an original. You can buy a print of one of my collages, or you can buy an original collage. I've got this music for sale, and thankfully people are listening and letting me know how good it is. And thanks for being supportive. You know, thanks for being cool, folks. This is fun.